Yo, what's up guys, it's Kyeet. I'm going to be showing you how to use the new TradeShop and BlockLocker plugin coming to the Kyeet SMP. Alright, so to set up your shop, you're going to want to go ahead and remove any chest that you have there previously, and you can go ahead and restart with a new chest. You're going to want to make sure that you do a single chest. If you want to make it a double chest, I'll show you how to do it in just 1 second, but go ahead and start with just a single chest. You're going to put a sign directly above it, so you don't want that sign being directly on it or connected to the front. You want it to be above it on a block, and then you're going to want to put bracket, trade, bracket, just like this. You click done and you know it went through. When it turns gray, it says incomplete and it said you've successfully set up a trade shop. Now what you're going to want to do while standing near it is you're going to want to set up the product and the cost. So let's say I want the product to be 64 rockets and I want the cost to be 5 diamonds. I can go ahead and hold out the 64 rockets, do /TS add product, and it'll show up there 64 rockets, and then I'll hold out the 5 diamonds, and I'll make sure you're holding out the amount that you want, because if I was holding out a stack, it would make the price a stack. If I was holding out one, it would make the price 1. So I'll hold out the 5, do /TS add cost, and it'll say the trade in green. And now the store is out of stock, but it's 64 rockets for 5 diamonds. The way you stock is you just go in the chest and then you start adding your product in there. So let's add some firework rockets, and now it says the store is open. So now if I give it 5 diamonds, I'll be able to get 64 rockets. However, if I was someone else trying to get into the store, I can't break the chest, I can't enter the chest, or I can't break the sign to change the price or anything. Alright, so if you want to set up a double chest for it, you're going to need to set it up the same way you set up another one. So click and make another double chest here, because if you don't set up another sign there, players will be able to enter the chest and take stuff from it. So what we're going to need to do is set up another sign here, do bracket trade bracket, set it up again. So I'll do the 64 rockets, so /TS add cost, or add product, sorry, and then do TS add cost. Let's pull off 5 diamonds, so it's just the same. And then we've set it up over here as well. So now both sides are set up. So if I were to fill this thing up with rockets, he could buy it from either side of the store. But it's easier to just set it up as a single chest. All right, so let's go ahead and break this sign in this chest and just set it up as a single, because it's easier to work this way. And let's say I wanted to change the price to, I don't know, maybe 10 netherite. I can do /TS remove cost. It'll say incomplete. And now let's say I didn't have 10 netherite on me and I wanted to make it a price that I didn't currently have. You can still do that by doing /TS add cost, typing in the amount, so let's say 10 netherite, and then by typing in the item itself. Now make sure you put in the full name, so like in this case it's netherite ingot, not just netherite. So make sure you put a netherite ingot, and then we can click enter, and it'll show up there that it costs 10 netherite ingots to buy 64 firework rockets, so I won't be able to use the diamonds anymore. Alright, now let's say I wanted DB to actually be a member on the shop, so that means I want him to be able to take out items and put new items in. You know, he kind of works on the store with me. So what I can do is get close to the chest and then type in /TS add member, and then I can type in his name, and it should say the shop's updated, and now DB should have access to go inside the chest and add stuff, take stuff out, but he cannot change the sign up above. Now, if I do want him to be able to have access to there, I can do /TS add manager and then type in his name, and now it'll give him manager access. So now if DB wanted to, he could change the price of the firework rockets and diamonds. Now, if you added someone that you didn't want to the store, you can just stand close to it again, do /TS remove user, and then put in their name. So now I remove DB, so now DB is not able to open the chest or break it or do anything, so if you accidentally add the wrong person. Alright, so another thing is if you want to see exactly what it sells, like in this case we can see that it sells 54 firework rockets, which is kind of cut off there. If we want to see the whole thing, and if we also want to know like if it's flight duration 1 rockets or flight duration 3 or some colorful rockets, the easy way to do it is again stand close to the store, and you can type in /TS what, and it'll show you the cost and the exact item that it is, so 15 diamonds, and it will show you the product as well, and it shows 64 flight duration 1 rockets, which is what I'm selling at my store. So if it was flight duration 3, it would show that, or some other type of rocket. Alright, so if you're having any difficulty using any of the functions, so let's say like I'm standing right here and I do /TS remove user DB because I don't want him as a manager anymore. Sometimes it will work, but sometimes it'll say you're out of range. So let's say I want to do /TS what, it says I'm out of range. So just make sure you get really close to the shop, and eventually it should work if you keep trying it over and over again. If it doesn't and you keep having issues as the store owner, you can always just break the sign and retry it again from start. It isn't too big an issue, but you know, you can just try standing on top of the chest, just trying to find different ways, and eventually it should give you access to be able to enter the store like this. Alright, so the next plugin I'm going to be showing you how to use on the Kyeet SMP is the BlockLocker plugin. So let's say I wanted to make a chest and I didn't want people to be able to access it. What I can do is put a sign on top of it. You don't need the crouch or anything, just place the sign. It'll already say private and owned by you. So now anybody else that tries to open the chest will not be able to access the chest. They also won't be able to break it or do anything else. Alright, let's say I actually did want DB to have access to this chest. What I can do is go up and right click the sign, go down a few rows, and then type in his name. So make sure you type it in correctly. And for Bedrock players, make sure you put that period in front of it. Once you've typed it in, click done. And now DB does have access to be able to open this chest. However, he still cannot break the chest or change the sign in any sort of way. So you are still the official owner of the chest. Now you can keep adding more players, so if there's more players online, I could add it to the next row of the sign. And if you run out of space on this sign, you can put another sign on the front of it or on top of it or anywhere really sort of near it, and it'll let you change and add more people to the list. Alright, so chests aren't the only things that you can lock with this plugin. You can also lock things like furnace, blast furnace, barrels, crafting tables, really all sorts of items. Now one item that you can't do is like a ender chest. So let's say I try to put a sign on here. First it would just open it. Let's say I try to crouch and do it. You would know it doesn't work because it wouldn't have the private in your name on it. Let's say I like wanted to try to make it private. It still wouldn't work, and actually it would just break the sign whenever you try it. Alright, that's all there is to both of these plugins. If you need any help with either of them, let me know in the Discord.